Hello again, this is PC Delta Link. We're back with more of our Enigamtica 2 Let's Play Normal Mode, and this is episode 103. Alright, we're back at our base. We got a couple of our bee houses set up here that we may or may not have stolen from nearby villages. And I've just been around collecting a few bees, just a few, just a little bit that I picked up here and there as I ran around the world, you know, little things. Most of these are actually ignoble stock. I got terrible luck on the ignoble stock bees this time around. We kind of didn't get as much into forestry as I wanted to last episode, since we kind of ran out of time. We ended up doing part of blood magic in that episode. So we're going to keep going in this episode. So after running around and harvesting some of these bees, you're probably going, okay, what do I do with all this stuff? We got a bunch of honeycomb and all these different bees. I need some of our good bees. There we go. There's one. Gonna need that. And I need one more if I can find. There we go. One more. Okay. That'll be good for now. So the first thing you can do is we're gonna need a couple new items that we can craft now, just to make our lives a bit easier. So let's see. Okay. So one of the things, now I'd said that you could take the bee houses from the, you know, villages that I showed you guys at the end of the last episode once the bees are done with their life cycle in there. But the other thing you can also do is craft them yourself. Now to craft bee houses, they're pretty cheap actually. You just take 3 wood slabs, and I think it can be any wood. I don't think it has to be a particular type of wood. Yeah, it can be any wood. And any honeycomb. Doesn't have to be a particular type of honeycomb. In this case, I've got... In fact, I'm going to use a different one. Just because this one's not going to be used for as much. Yeah, any honeycomb. 3 wood slabs on top, and then 5 around the rest of the crafting grid below it in like a U shape. And that gets you a bee house. We're going to get 2 more of these. Now, you don't actually want to make a whole lot of these bee houses because we're actually not going to use them very long. And they're rather inefficient, actually. So yeah, see, my mouse is double-clicking right-click sometimes, and that's kind of annoying. So, alright, we're just going to have these 4 out here right now. Now, how these work is you got to take one of your princesses, and then you also need to take a drone for that same princess. So we've got a Meadows drone and a Meadows princess. Again, pristine stock is important. And then you put the princess in one slot and the Meadows drone goes another, and you see this gauge fills up, they breed, and you have a queen. A Meadows queen. And this little green bar on the left now, to the left of the queen there, that is her lifespan. So as that goes down, she will age and eventually die out. Now, there's a couple things to the left of this grid that are kind of important. So these are reasons why the bees aren't doing anything right now. So if you look at this one, this top one here, it's got an X with the sun, says it's not bright enough. So these bees work in the daylight. And then this one says no flowers. There has to be flowers near your bee houses for them to produce honey. For most bees, anyway. And then finally we got this one, not daytime, obviously. So, let's go ahead and I did grab some basic flowers from when I was at the other place. I think you only need 1. It's just got to be within a certain radius of the bee house. You don't have to have it like filling the area. And you see the no flowers thing has disappeared from this one. So now we have a flower for the bee to pollinate. So now let's fix those other problems. Let's get to sunrise and let's go ahead and enjoy the very rapid sunset, causing daylight to show up. Alright, so now if we look at our bees, you see our bees are messing with the flower, they're running around, and this gauge will slowly start to decrease. So that's a good thing. Now, as time goes by, the bee will produce honeycomb, so if you go to the use key for what this thing produces, bee produce. So a 30% chance for honeycomb. I don't know, you usually almost always get 1. I don't know if it's like 30% for an extra or how this reads, but yeah. So that's what this one does. And the other thing, this is more getting into later what we'll be working on, but the big thing with beekeeping is eventually you're going to be crossbreeding your different bees to get higher tiers of bees that give you different produce, better items, that kind of thing. So we'll get into more of this in a little while once we've done some basics here. So this is our meadows one. Let's go ahead and get our forest one in here. And we'll breed these two up as well. These should have the same requirements as the meadow bee. Oh, no flowers, it says. Is it not close enough? I guess so. Okay, apparently they had to be pretty close to it. But now they're running around too, you can see. And while these are working through their lifespan, we'll go ahead and head back in the house and make a couple other items we're going to need for today. So one of the things we're going to need is this Apiarist Chest. So in order to make this, you're going to want a piece of glass, just a regular chest, and then 5 honeycomb. We're going to need 2 of these. So this is a little on the more expensive side, but this is great for storage. So we're going to make 2 of those. And then we're going to go ahead and make a backpack. Backpacks are something Forestry has that are quite nice if you can get them, but they can be a little annoying to upgrade. But the base backpacks are great. Before we had the satchels, backpacks were like one of the best things you could get. In fact, they're still actually really good. I just don't use them as much as I used to. Where are they? Here you go. Here we go. So you see we have all these, this mining backpack, digging backpack, foresting backpack, all these different backpacks, hunting, adventuring, building. And these hold 15 slots by default, so it's not as big as, obviously, like our satchels that we use now. But if you're starting out, they're actually pretty good, and I'll show the recipe for them. I'm not planning to make these in this playthrough. But there's always a chest, 4 string, 2 blocks of any colored wool, and then the other 2 items on the left and right are what's different. So like this one for the mining backpack is 2 iron ingots, the digging one is 2 stone. The foresting is 2 wood blocks. These can be upgraded to where there are 45 slots each instead of 15, but that requires woven silk, which comes from a bee that we do not have access to yet. It actually comes from that silky comb that I got last episode. That's why I was really happy to see that villager offering that, and I couldn't find him when I went back there again, unfortunately. But yeah, that's where you get those eventually, and early game, these can really be helpful. Just because they're not that expensive. If you have a wool supply is usually the problem that early game. But still, really nice to have. They work, in some ways they work better than satchels, because you can set these to where they'll automatically pick up items when you're, like say you're mining ore, it will automatically go into the backpack. I don't have to tell it to go in there like I do with the satchels where I had to manually move stuff in there. These will automatically take their items that they're able to store. You can lock them to where they don't take the items, you know, just like you can lock other things. Shift right clicking, I believe. You can deposit them in a chest just like you can with the satchel. Just, you know, shift right click on a chest to throw everything in the satchel into the chest. So yeah, really nice things to have. Alright, but we've got an Apiarist Chest. And we're going to go and make an Apiarist Backpack as well. And that's going to be made with 2 wool, 4 string, and 2 sticks. Yes, here we go. Apiarist Backpack. So if you look in the Apiarist Backpack, it's got 5 pages. So this holds 125 slots of items. All different bees that you can shove in here, which is great. And if you know what, I wonder if I can do this. So yeah, I bet they went in here. Yes, they did. So yeah, to give you an example, see now those bees I just picked up automatically went into my backpack. Mystical. Not 100% sure what the question marks are. It's probably to do with genome sequencing and whatnot, which we'll get into that shortly. The Apiarist Chest is much the same, where it's just 5 slots for bees and beekeeping like this, but obviously it's an immobile chest. But still, nice to have nearby. So let's see. Okay, yep. And we're doing pretty good there. Looks like the forest bees actually have a shorter lifespan than the meadow bees, because the meadow hasn't gone down as much, and that was started before the forest bees, for crying out loud. Yeah, we'll get back to them in a little bit. It can take a while at first for those to start decreasing. Okay, so the next thing we're going to need is... let's see, I believe it's this one. Yeah. So, the other thing we need to do with this honeycomb is we're going to want to get honey drops from it. So if you come up here to a thing called the Centrifuge, we can get beeswax and honey. Now, honey's only a 90% chance, but that's still a pretty good chance. So in order to make the Centrifuge, you need 6 copper, one of those sturdy casings made with all bronze again, and then 2 glass, and that gets you the Centrifuge. So let me go ahead and just throw this on here. Just need some power. There we go. And let's throw some honeycomb in here. We'll throw a few in here. Okay. Got some beeswax and a honey drop. Two honey drops. Beeswax isn't that important at the moment. We'll end up using that later on probably, but honey drops are the main thing we're after right now, because we need those for what we're going to make next, actually. So while that's finishing those up, let's make one of our next items we're going to need. We're going to need the analyzer. So it's this thing right here, portable analyzer. And this is made, let me see if I remember the pattern. Oh, right, I have to, yeah, okay. The carpenter just holds like the blueprint for an item. You don't actually put them in there. You leave them in this small space here, and it will craft what it needs as long as it has the materials in there. So in order to make this, you just need the 4 tin, 2 on each side, 2 redstone, a diamond, and then 2 panes of glass. And then you'll see that with water supplied, remember this has to have water, it will create our portable analyzer. And we're going to need 2 of these because we're probably going to make a more permanent one, but we have to have a second one to do that. So, this will be done here in just a moment. Okay, portable analyzer. Okay, so now if you look at this, yeah, this is what we're going to use to genetically analyze our different bees that we have. But this requires honey drops to run. That's why we needed the centrifuge in order to get some honey drops. So we got 6, that's pretty good. Beeswax, we'll go ahead and keep that for now. Okay, still going, okay, good. So let me just go ahead and let me get one of our, excuse me. So you put your honey drops up here in the upper right corner, and that is the fuel for this thing. And now you can place a bee here in the question mark, and it will analyze it at the cost of 1 honey drop. This is also why these things do not stack, because they can potentially all be different. So if you look at the traits here, you have the species, the lifespan, production, pollination, flower type, fertility, territory, and effect. And then these all have different things they can tell you depending on which spot you put in down here. You're in the 1st, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. It does not cost additional honey drops to analyze a princess. Once they're analyzed forever. And you can get a little bit more information from, like, this one, you know, how it says unknown genome. This one does not have that anymore. You can hold shift and see, you know, shorter life, slowest worker, normal, all that stuff. So I'm going to go through these somewhat briefly. So most of these are pretty obvious, what the lifespan is, how long it lives, you know, production, how quickly it produces honey, Pollination, how quickly it can create... They can't actually create flowers over time around them. What flower type it needs. Some bees need a specific type of flower. Fertility is how many offspring they create after they die. Territory, average. I believe that's how much ground they cover. I'm not 100% sure. If they have a special effect, it'll be here under effect. Like, some bees will actually attack you if you're near their hive. Not all of them are nice and kind. Climate, normal, so if it needs this particular climate or humidity, it'll tell you that here. Diurnal, yes, diurnal is active during the daytime, nocturnal active at night. Tolerant flyer, I believe, is whether or not the bee will fly in the rain. And then cave dwelling is whether or not the bee can live underground. Otherwise, if the bee can't live underground... Oh, let me switch back to daytime so our bees can keep working. If the bee can't live underground, it has to have an open view of the sky above its bee house. So let's keep going. Yeah, possible produce. It tells you what the bee will produce. Honeycomb. Possible mutations. Yeah, this is what all those question marks are. Bees can crossbreed, like I said, with many different things, and you can get so many different offspring from that. Then finally, it gives you the fancy scientific name for it, if you would like to see that. Your kingdom, class, order, family, genus, species, yeah, all that stuff. So that's what the portable analyzer does. And at the moment, we're really just kind of waiting for these to be done. So I'm going to check back with you guys in a few minutes once these are... Well, I got one other thing I can do real quick. So, I'd said you don't want to make that many bee houses. That's because we're not going to be on bee houses very long. There is a better version of the bee house called the apiary that you can get pretty early on. You can actually just skip bee houses and go to this. I'm just covering bee houses for the sake of covering bee houses. But apiaries are slightly different in their cost. So, it's the same 3 wood slabs with wood underneath in the U shape. But then we have this impregnated casing. And this is kind of an annoying thing to get. So this is made in the carpenter with blocks of wood and either seed oil or olive oil. So let me go ahead and... Yeah, I can use spruce wood, that's fine. Okay. So let me go to our carpenter here that has seed oil in it. And just like the other one, you don't actually place the items in that grid. That's just laying out the blueprint. You'll see the impregnated casing appeared. You have to leave the items here for it to actually craft it. And this is kind of expensive. This takes 250 seed oil per crafting operation. So we're only going to get 2 of these before we're out. But that's fine. 2 should be enough for our purposes here today. So if this would hurry up, that would be great. They're not fast to craft, admittedly. Okay, so we have impregnated casings. And just like before, we just put them in here, and there we go. We have apiaries. These look, at a glance, these look the exact same as the bee houses. But they are way better. Hey, quest. Let's see here. Yay, loot. And centrifuge quest, and portable analyzer quest. Sure, why not? Let's just get all these cleared. And just for the heck of it, we'll go ahead and see if we got anything good. Not terrible. Benevolent Goddess Charm. Mud bricks, really. Okay. And lava stone. Cosmetic stuff. We'll just throw all that in here, and that can go sit in my AE network. Alright, so what's the good thing about apiaries compared to bee houses? The biggest difference is that you can upgrade them. And there is a slight difference. So you can see the color is slightly darker, and also there's little, I think it's supposed to be honey, dripping out of the side of one of the, it looks like a bell, so I'm going to call it the bell on the side of the block. But the other thing these have is there's 3 slots here that were not on the bee houses. Otherwise it looks the exact same. These can take what are called frames, and frames will improve your bees and help them either work faster or produce more, that kind of stuff. And for the ignoble bees, they'll actually also improve how long they last before they genetically deteriorate. So we're going to need some sticks. Just a few sticks should be fine. We're also going to need string. For our basic ones, this is the recipes for it. So let's go ahead and get our sticks around like this. And then our string in the middle. And you see, this gets us untreated frames. So you see here, it has a durability, so these do not last forever. Genetic decay of 0.9, so it slightly decreases how much chance your ignoble bees have to genetically decay, which that doesn't matter if you're using pristine stock. Then the important one there, production 2 times. So these can be used to increase the production that your bees give off. So we're going to go ahead and wait till... We'll probably wait till... Well, I can go ahead and throw another set in here. Let me see if I can find another pristine one. Pristine Meadows, here we go. So let's get our Pristine Meadows. Let's get our... Oh yeah, let's throw our frames in here. And get our Meadows drone. And there we go. Oh, and they need flowers. So let's toss them a flower. Hey, they're happy now. Also, you notice we have an extra flower here now, because I only placed 2 originally, and now we have a 3rd one. So yeah, these guys do create flowers over time. It doesn't have to be the vanilla Minecraft ones. I believe any flower will make them happy. And one, oh, and one over here too now. Oh, and a couple over here. Yeah, see what I mean? Flowers just popping up everywhere. That probably wasn't there earlier either. So let's see. Bee house is going well. Apiary is going well. So I'm going to pause and I'll be back once these guys are done with their lifespan, all of them. And I'll show you what we got. Ooh, we got a honeycomb from our forest queen here. Wonderful. Alright, so I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Okay. They're still going, but I thought about a couple other things I want to talk about while we're at this. I'm going to go ahead and move it to the sunrise, because we're actually running out of daylight, and then they're going to quit working. There are other frames than the one basic one we made. We use the untreated frame, but there's also impregnated frame and then proven frame. The impregnated frame take those impregnated sticks, which of course requires seed oil. So not as bad, but again, it just takes a lot of... This takes a lot of wood, because you're using wood blocks to get 1 stick each. You need 8 of them to get 1 frame. But their durability is better, though, and they reduce genetic decay even further. The proven frame reduces the genetic decay even further. But these are... Let's see here. I'm actually not 100% sure how to get these. Well, I'll have to look into that, because it's not giving me an actual recipe to go with on that. But usually you're probably going to just stick with the untreated frames starting out, just because they're a lot cheaper and not as hard to get. We got 2 honeycomb now on our forest queen. And we already got 2. You can see our frames are taking some damage, but we already have 2 honeycombs on this one. So okay, so now getting into more bee breeding and what that entails. So let me go ahead and hit our use key on this. So this is how you would progress through the tree normally in forestry. Is you take a forest princess in this case, plus a meadows drone, and you have a 15% chance to get a common bee at the end of it. I think you have to wait till the end of it? I don't remember. So we're going to find out here in just a minute, because I'm going to use one. But let's see here. So yeah. And you can see there's all kinds of different ones here. Common bee plus forest equals cultivated. We are not going through all the bees in this game, because good night, there is way too many of those to go through. But the 2 main ones you're going to want, if you're really going through forestry, is you're going to want Imperial and Industrious. Those are the two that you normally go after for the highest one that are from the base Forestry game. A lot of these other ones are extras and they're not quite as important. The Imperial Queen gives you Royal Jelly, which is one thing you need for some advanced stuff from her, and then the Industrious one gives you Pollen Cluster, which is also used for some advanced stuff. So, but they're on two different chains for breeding, so that's why it's not the same. So like Industrious comes from Unweary Diligent, Diligent is Common Cultivated, Cultivated is Common plus Forest, and Meadows, and yeah, this can really quickly become just a mess of breeding and whatnot, so we're only going to do this the one time because Gendustry makes this process 100 times better. I'm going to wait. This one's actually really close to dying. I'm just going to wait till it's dead. So check back with you guys in a couple minutes again. Okay, so our apiary has finished up. And now you see our queen is gone. She died. And now we got two Meadows drones again, along with a Pristine Stock Meadows Princess. So this is where, if you have an ignoble stock princess, then what happens is when the bee finishes, there's a chance you may not get the princess back. So the line would basically end. You should always get a drone or two, usually two, I believe. But yeah, the princess, if it's not pristine, can die off when the bees finish. So that's why that's why ignoble is really bad and pristine's what you always want. We got 3 honeycomb for that, which is really good. And our frames took not too much damage, just a little bit. So just to see how this goes, we're going to take our Forest Princess, we're going to combine it with a Meadows Drone. And we'll see what happens there. Okay, we have a Forest Queen. Now we're going to take this out real quick and analyze it using our little portable analyzer. So now, we saw a normal bee earlier, so now let's take this one. And let's see here. Wasn't that interesting? So Forest won out on that. So breeding the Meadows with the Forest, actually it did not successfully crossbreed. If this said crossbred successfully, you would have like Forest and Meadow. You know, you'd see both here. Excuse me. And the traits of both would be listed here as your active and inactive traits. How the breeding works is, you might remember back in biology at school, you had those Punnett squares, you know, little grids with the, you know, stuff on one side and stuff on the other side, and they multiply together, and that's how you figure out what genes are in the offspring. That's basically how breeding works on Forestry. But again, the problem is that the chance of these things crossbreeding is pretty low. You saw the one was only a 15% chance. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so we got some Forest drones. We got 3 Forest drones and 2 that don't stack, so I'm not sure why. I almost want to analyze that and wonder why that didn't stack. Let's, you can analyze drones as well, but remember that that also takes honey. So I'm not sure why that one didn't stack. You know, I'm going to have to analyze both in order to figure that out. Yeah, they do not stack. I have no idea why those don't stack, because they should. Well, either way, so like I'd said, how, you know, you only have a 15% chance of crossbreeding to occur. Sometimes it's as low as 10% chance. But this is why next episode we're going to get into Gendustry, because Gendustry makes beekeeping 100 times better. And among other things, you can like force evolution onto the bees, so you can quickly advance, because otherwise you're basically left to the mercy of RNG to see if stuff actually, you know, finishes properly and whatnot, and gives you the crossbreed that you need. So, yeah, it's honestly kind of depressing. This one I've already gone ahead and crossbred, so I'm going to go and... Oh, that's the wrong one. Where's my queen? Here it is. We'll go ahead and throw her back in here so that she can go ahead and breed out and use up her life cycle. So yeah, next episode, we'll keep touching on forestry here and there, but we're going to mainly focus on gendistry after this, just because of how much easier it will make bee breeding. So we'll get into that more next episode. You guys will get to see... And I've never used gendistry before, I just know it makes life way easier. And I know the gist of what it does in general. So that'll be interesting to embark upon the journey of using gendistry. So, alright. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all have a great day. And I will see you guys next time.